All right, greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Edge Kirchhoff, and welcome to our Sunday morning live stream for Week 18 of the 2022 fantasy football season. This is, in fact, the final Sunday morning rankings live stream of the season. Now, of course, to the right side of the screen, we have updated rankings for our top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks, and tight ends. The entire purpose of today's live stream is to, of course, just answer any questions you guys have. Yesterday was an underwhelming Saturday of football. It is what it is. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes could have really lit up the scoreboard. His fantasy scoreline wasn't even that good. I mean, one passing touchdown, that's it. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. Ronald Jones scoring a rushing touchdown, what is happening? But it is just the nature of the beast. That is fantasy football in a nutshell. Despite how much you can potentially predict or hope that something is going to happen or expect it to happen because of the fantastic matchup and it being a one-sided affair, doesn't guarantee anything. And then on the other side of that game, we had the Raiders, who pretty much went back to being exactly what we expected them to be last week, in which they probably should have had themselves one of those performances against the 49ers, yet it was the opposite. But they've kind of gone back to the good old Raiders of earlier this season. And then, of course, the night game. The fact that Derrick Henry doesn't find the end zone is quite surprising. And the fact that Trevor Lawrence missed maybe 2 or 3 passes that very easily could have been touchdowns or not big plays that would have led to touchdowns eventually down the field. Travis Etienne completely getting stonewalled by that defense. Not really a surprise, but that is fantasy football, and that is Week 18. Again, welcome, guys. Hope you guys are doing well. If you guys have not yet already, do me a solid. Click the like button down below. I also do have kicker and defensive rankings available, so I will transition the screen in order to go ahead and present those to you guys. For example, if I go ahead and do that, we'll have kicker rankings top 12, defensive rankings top 12. We also have some prize picks for today that I'm specifically a little bit more in tune with in comparison to yesterday. Yesterday was brutal. I mean, that entire Raiders game was brutal. I mean, besides the fact that Jerick McKinnon started off with a nice 6-point touchdown, this dude disappeared for the remainder of that contest and absolutely did nothing. I mean, Kadarius Toney was the only person who was really in the mix of being a promising option there. But as of right now, we have Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, both going more on their receiving yard totals today. James Cook and Kenneth Walker both going over on their rushing yard totals today. And we have the Dolphins getting more than 2.0 sacks, primarily because both of the starting left and right tackle for the New York Jets are going to be out today. Therefore, Joe Flacco at quarterback, a little bit immobile. The last time he was at the starting position, they had given up 4 sacks. If, in fact, they're going to send some pressure in his direction, which I expect them to do so, they should be able to get to the quarterback, probably rack up 3 sacks, and have a pretty good day there. Either way, let me go ahead and transition back to our top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends, and then begin answering questions. Again, I'm just here to answer questions. If you've got one, be sure to mention what your scoring format is, and we'll be able to help you out, okay? Thank you. Let me go ahead and scroll back up here a little bit. All right, so Zach was asking, Michael Pittman Jr. or A.J. Dillon in a full PPR? At this point, it's probably just safer to roll with A.J. Dillon there. As much as I do like Michael Pittman Jr., I just don't trust Sam Ehlinger. And nothing's going to really change that. And especially going up against Houston, even with Steven Nelson most likely out, Desmond King doesn't really make it that much easier for Michael Pittman Jr. I think this is just going to be a matchup in which, I'd rather just play A.J. Dillon there. I have a lot more hope that he could potentially have a better game, find the end zone for, a 5th, 4th consecutive game here. And, of course, get a couple sprinkles of receptions to keep his baseline going. Isaac, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Adam in the chat was saying, greetings, salutations. What's up, Adam? Hope you're doing well. Carlos says, Jefferson, Waddle, or Pickens as my wide receiver too. Yeah, I'm playing Justin Jefferson, guys. Unless they specifically say that they are benching Justin Jefferson, the expectation is that Kevin O'Connell is going to bring his team out there and play them until they probably blow out the Bears. And it's not going to take long. It'll probably take a first half. But you gotta remember, like, in comparison to some of these other players, for example, like if you look at the entire spectrum of the National Football League thus far this season, weeks 1 through 17, the highest scoring team in the first half amongst all teams in the NFL have been the Philadelphia Eagles, right? So if you're looking at options of players like, okay, who's really going to get benched in the second half? It's going to be the Eagles players, right? Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders. They'll probably play the first series of the third quarter, probably. And outside of that, they're done. Because typically they're the highest scoring team in the first half amongst all teams in the National Football League. The second highest is, I think, the Bills. The Minnesota Vikings are in the middle of the pack, averaging about 10 points per first half this season. So if in fact, they make any mistakes, any turnovers, anything of that nature, it could allow the Minnesota Vikings to continue to play a majority of that game and continue on. And of course, put up big points. But either way, I'm expecting Justin Jefferson. If you told me, hey, can Justin Jefferson outscore Jalen Waddle by only playing one half of football, I'd objectively say yes. I think he can easily outscore Jalen Waddle in one half of football. Now, Doob6787 had a question in the chat. He said, what's the exclamation point mean next to Eckler? I'm glad you asked. Okay, so just so we're all on the same page, and I'll probably have to reference to this on multiple occasions throughout the live stream, but it's no problem. That's the reason why it's there. The exclamation point next to Chargers players in specific, so Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Justin Herbert, all exist there primarily as a warning. You should be aware of the potential circumstances that are going to arise if, in fact, the Baltimore Ravens lose in the morning slate. So the Baltimore Ravens play in about 2 hours from now. They play against the Cincinnati Bengals. J.K. Dobbins has already been deemed out. Therefore, the expectation is that there is a potential that Tyler Huntley could even be out and Anthony Brown is going to be the starting quarterback. It has raised the Cincinnati Bengals defensive value going into today's game. But either way, if in fact the Baltimore Ravens are in a position where they're pretty much packing it in, if they lose that game against the Cincinnati Bengals, it would automatically win the number 5 overall seed in the AFC for the Los Angeles Chargers. Therefore, the Chargers would not have to play their starters at 1:25 p.m. PST this afternoon in order to claim that number 5 overall spot within the NFL playoffs on the AFC bracket. So there is a potential that if the Ravens lose, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams only play one half of football. Is that a guarantee? No. That is just pure speculation. And again, there may be even an opportunity in which they don't even play any of those guys across the board. And you may see guys like Joshua Kelly and their backup quarterback, Joshua Palmer, DeAndre Carter to get more opportunities within that offense. But again, we don't know. Right? We don't know the result of the first game. Therefore, we can't, really definitively say that, hey, this is the fact of the matter in the second game. So it is what it is. And that's week 18 for you. Please, guys, if you've learned anything in the last 10 seconds here, it's make sure that your commissioners have specifically next year, whether you're the commissioner or whether someone else is commissioner, be sure to make sure that they understand the chaos that ensues in week 18 and that this is not fantasy football. This is a guessing game, to be totally honest, because I have to guess whether or not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Minnesota Vikings, the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Giants, I don't even know anymore. A lot of these teams, I have to guess whether or not they're going to be playing for majority of the game and how much effort they're going to put forth and who's going to play and how many snaps they're going to be limited to. And at that point, I'm not in the mind of some of these head coaches. And unfortunately, it will probably lead to some inaccuracies in terms of these rankings, but it is what it is. I really can't do anything about it. All right, so let's see the other questions we have here. We had a question. Let me scroll up a little bit here. All right, Lori Yogi says, in a full PPR scoring format, Stevenson, Montgomery, Williams, White, Knight. Okay, so who would you play? Thanks. And Moss. Okay, so if we're talking about that entire group of players in a full PPR scoring format, yeah, I'd like to play Ramondre Stevenson. The next best player out of the group in a full PPR, let me go look at my full PPR rankings real quick. The next best player out of the group is most likely Jonathan Williams. Yeah. So it'll be Ramondre out of the group, though. Thank you. Let me go ahead. Let's see the next question. We had Mel. Mel said, Andrew, I need 2 wide receivers and 2 flex this week. My wide receivers are Evans, Hollywood, DPJ, and Rashid Shaheed. My flex options include Jeff Wilson Jr., Zach Moss, Alexander Madison, Cordero Patterson. I'm down 16 due to Mahomes/Kelsey. Thanks. Okay, so of the available options you have here, Mel, I feel pretty comfortable rolling with, let's say, for example, we're talking about a half PPR scoring format because, again, there wasn't a format mentioned. But let's say, for example, we're talking half PPR. At this point, I'd be pretty comfortable with the idea that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense isn't good enough to where Mike Evans gets pulled anytime soon. Even if they pull Brady early, Blaine Gabbert will still play with him in the second half, third quarter. So I'm leaning towards Evans and Hollywood being your best prospects at wide receiver. I'm thinking your best flex options is probably going with Rashid Shaheed alongside of Jeff Wilson Jr. there. Thank you. Shannon Channel says T. Higgins or Pollard at the flex, looking for upside. If you're looking for upside between the two options, I mean, it's probably, you know, as much as I like Tony Pollard, I honestly think the upside's probably in the case of T. Higgins there. Cassio sends in a question, says Garrett Wilson or Cam Akers in a full PPR scoring format. I think I still have Garrett Wilson, slightly below him in terms of my rankings. As of right now, full PPR, Cam Akers is number 14 overall, and Garrett Wilson is number 18. As much as I like wide receivers, specifically in a full PPR scoring format because of that upside, the lack of an offensive line for Joe Flacco makes it a little bit more difficult to trust his receiving options. Sure, Garrett Wilson is going to get his targets, and of course, Joe Flacco is going to get the ball out of his hands looking in his direction, but I think Cam Akers is just a little bit safer in terms of his floor. Jordy Peasy sent in a question, said, never thanked you, bro. I won 2 out of my 3 finals. Much love. Happy New Year's, GOAT. See you next year, my friend. Sounds good, Jordy. I'm glad I could help you out. Congratulations, my friend. Let's see here. We had Adil sends in a question, says, greetings and salutations, Andrew. In the flex, who should I play? Mike Evans, Tony Pollard, DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, or Hollywood Brown standard league? I'd play Tony Pollard there. Yeah, out of the group, he's by far and away the safest in a matchup in which they should be able to run the ball pretty consistently there. Charles says, Mixon, Cam Akers, or Tony Pollard in a full PPR. I'm probably still playing Cam Akers there out of the group. Yeah. Cam Akers has been far too good as of late to not trust. I mean, the last month of the season, the guy's been, I think, the number 4 overall back in fantasy. It's very difficult not to trust him at this point. He's already proven that he's been fantastic. And on top of it, he plays against Seattle. That's the best matchup at the running back position. Can't ask for anything else. That's why we're starting him. Charles, okay, we took care of Charles. Steven Drakes, what's up, Steven? Says, who do you have more confidence in today? Stevenson, Dalvin Cook, or Eckler? Oh, in terms of, okay, here's the thing. Who do I have more confidence in? It would technically, oh, wow. Okay, so here's the thing. I think Stevenson probably doesn't have, one of his incredible 20-point games, but I think he's a solid 10 points today. But in comparison to those other 2 options, if Eckler and Dalvin Cook play the full first half, I mean, based on what Eckler has done over the course of the last 2 weeks in itself, right? Scoring 2 rushing touchdowns each of the last 2 weeks, there is a very good chance that Eckler could come away with a rushing touchdown, a good solid amount of yards to where he's easily over that 10-point range. And I think Dalvin Cook is probably in that same conversation, primarily because he takes on Chicago and how bad they are at stopping the run and how many of their defenders are already on the injured reserve. Again, we all know that the Chicago Bears are trying to lose this game, primarily because if in fact the Houston Texans win, the Chicago Bears would then get the number 1 overall pick. So they're hoping that the Houston Texans want to, mess around and find out what exactly happens when you don't throw games at the end of the season. So at this point, there is a very good chance that both Eckler and Dalvin Cook could have 10 points in just the first quarter, much less the first half. So again, I'd probably say I'm most confident in Eckler still getting his opportunity, especially based on, the coach speak that we've heard out of Brandon Staley, saying if we want to, where we're going, we have to play at these current moments in time. So, okay, if you want to play, so be it, let it rip. KJ Osborne or David Montgomery? Yeah, I'd probably, okay, let's say, for example, it's a half PPR scoring format. I'd rather just play Montgomery because, again, there's no guarantee of a scenario in which the Minnesota Vikings blow out the Bears. The expectation is that that's going to be the case, but I can't guarantee it. So unless you have the potential upside risk and you're like, all right, I'm willing to take the risk here and play KJ Osborne, there's also no guarantee that he even gets targets in the meanwhile in that garbage time to where he makes him a relevant option. You got to remember last week, the reason why he scored in garbage time was primarily because they were down 30. When you're up 30, you're not going to really pass the ball. So I'd probably still play Montgomery there, Philip. All right, we saw a couple more super chats come in my direction. Thank you very much for those of you who are sending it in. Again, don't feel obligated to do so, but I greatly do appreciate you guys supporting the channel in that regard. Thomas in the chat was saying, Andrew made the playoffs in 3 out of my 4 leagues, secured a championship in 1. Thank you. No problem. Glad I can help. Hopefully, next year we can capture more than one championship for you, but glad we were able to at least get one there. All right, the boss 1977 sends in a question. Says half PPR. I need 2 running backs and one quarterback. All right, here we go. So of the running backs you have available, you have Rachaad White, Jonathan Williams, Chase Edmonds, and Elijah Mitchell. Okay, so I'm gonna play Rachaad White alongside of Jonathan Williams there. Chase Edmonds is a pretty solid play, but he's probably he's not gonna have more touches than Jonathan Williams. We know that the Dallas Cowboys overall as a defense, even though they have looked good at times this season, as of late, they really cannot stop anybody. So Jonathan Williams is a pretty solid play alongside of Rachaad White there. As for the follow-up question for quarterback, Flacco, Dalton, Baker, or Pickett, I think I have Pickett ranked the highest out of the group. I have Joe Flacco ranked as my number 17 overall quarterback. If you're looking for ultimate upside, it's probably Joe Flacco, but it's also like, hey, high risk, high reward. So you could probably get yourself 16 points out of Joe Flacco if he passes for 2 touchdowns. But you could also be in the same exchange in which you get only 4 fantasy points from him. He throws 4 interceptions, and then it's a complete mess, right? Those realities do exist when we talk about quarterbacks of that caliber. So at this point, I've kind of just leaned in the direction of taking my safe points of like 13 points with Kenny Pickett, hoping that he has a little bit more rushing upside in the matchup against Cleveland. And if he does, maybe finds himself a second touchdown in this game and becomes a little bit better of a player. But yeah, I'll take Pickett for now. Flacco's my number 2 there. Baker's 3 and Dalton's 4. Thank you, the boss. Lex says, currently down to my championship in a full PPR scoring format. I need 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, and 1 flex. I got McCaffrey. I have Chubb. I have Moss, Elijah Mitchell, Watson, and Jacoby Myers. In a full PPR scoring format, I would suggest playing McCaffrey, Chubb, and Myers. Thank you. Appreciate it. Chris says, in a half PPR scoring format flex, Miles Sanders, Latavius Murray, Tyler Lockett. I'll take Miles Sanders there. In the first half, against the Giants, who are not starting Adoree Jackson and, of course, Leonard Williams, they're probably in a position where they're going to get ran through. Hopefully, Miles Sanders finds the end zone, because if he does, we'll have an incredible week here. But he's probably got the safest overall baseline out of the group there. Thank you. Where are we at here? Okay, Basil says, Mostert or Jonathan Williams in a standard league? Mostert or Jonathan Williams in a standard? I'd probably play Jonathan Williams in a standard. I think Mostert's probably just, Mostert's probably a better player in a full PPR, but in a standard league, I wouldn't think that's the case. Jacob Heath says McLaurin or Ayuk. It's close. Yep, it's definitely close. I guess with Debo back, I'll pick McLaurin. Also kind of want to start Watson despite his recent setbacks. Yeah, that's my biggest concern. I don't want a scenario here where we're getting into a situation where, unfortunately, an injury may occur to Watson or the re-aggravation to where you get another 6 points out of him and he leaves the game. That's my only concern, or if not worse. So you could take the risk there. And again, I think that the upside of Watson is certainly just as high as someone like McLaurin or Ayuk, certainly just as high, if not higher. But for right now, yeah, I'm just leaning with the safety of McLaurin, even with Sam Howell there. Let's see here. Shannon Channel says, thanks for everything, Andrew. Down big from last Monday Night Football. We'll fight with the hope of upside. Yeah, we got to just hope. Isaiah Sanders says, Jonathan Williams, Stevenson, Madison, Kelly, David Montgomery, and Rachaad White, full PPR pick 1. Out of the group, in a full PPR scoring format, it's between Stevenson and Rachaad White. Let me go check my rankings. Let's see here. Yeah, it's probably going to be Stevenson, primarily because in comparison to the rest of these group of running backs that you have in a full PPR scoring format, where does the question go? There it is. I mean, Madison, again, not a guarantee that he's going to play, and even if he does, not a guarantee he plays well. Kelly, that's a toss-up. That's another one of those, hey, it requires Austin Eckler not to play. David Montgomery, again, with a backup offense, not as great of a play, but could certainly be of value considering the PPR format and the hope of upside in terms of the receiving game. But of the remaining guys there, Isaiah, I would probably just lean with Stevenson. More confidence with Kirk or A-Rod? I mean, look, here's the issue that I have with Aaron Rodgers. This season, the guy's pretty much been like, hey, I'm going to throw for 200 yards and 1 touchdown and probably throw an interception. So overall, it's not the greatest amount of upside. He could throw for that second touchdown and be great. I have more confidence that Kirk Cousins probably outscores him today. Hannah says, hi, Andrew. Do you have fantasy leagues where you play with viewers? I used to have that in the past. I'd probably say it was in 2019 where we used to do that via Patreon. But for the amount of leagues that I already play in, the addition of adding like 10 more leagues to that entire workload is super difficult. So I stopped a long time ago. I mean, that's something that I've always thought would be fantastic to bring back into the forefront and keep it competitive, but it's just difficult to kind of decide like, okay, who plays and who doesn't and how many people play, because I can only stretch myself so thin in terms of a season and how many leagues I can play. And I'm already thinking that I'm going to downgrade from this this upcoming season in 2023 in terms of how many leagues I play in. Hey Andrew, looking forward to the spreadsheet from next season's draft. Hey, listen, there's going to be a lot more than just that. It's going to be a lot more than just that. Junchi says, thanks for the advice. Just curious, what's your favorite snack when watching football at home? What's my favorite snack? I don't actually think I snack when I watch football. There's a difference between snacking and in the way that Andrew eats. Andrew just eats full meals as snacks, if that makes any sense. But if I had to pick, it's probably just popcorn. That's just quick, easy. That's the way to go. I can just like binge eat and stress eat all the pain away. Amar Ali says, Dak, Watson, or Geno. Yeah, I think Dak is by far and away the most consistent option of the group. And considering the nature of that game being a must-win for the Dallas Cowboys, I expect Dak to be all out today. Again, 8 out of the last 9 games that he has played, 2 or more touchdowns. So even though he's turning over the ball, I still think Dak is the best of the group. And then your follow-up question there, Amar Ali, was Pittsburgh defense or Miami defense, just to give you a little bit of perspective there. As of this current moment, I will transition the screen. We have kicker and defensive rankings on screen. You can check that out. As right now, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 10, and I have the Miami Dolphins defense at number 11. They're very close, to say the very least, but I'll lean towards Pittsburgh there. We had a question that came in from Chris. Chris, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. Says 1.5 PP. Okay, we already took care of that. Miles Sanders is the play. Thank you. Awesome. All right, Pickett or Brady? I'll play Pickett there. I think Brady, there's nothing that tells me that Brady isn't going to play longer than 2 quarters, but I'm afraid of it. I truly am. That is a football team that does not need to play in the second half at all. Their offense does not need to play. And I could be convinced that there's a possibility, especially up against Atlanta, where we show up and there's a conversation where, okay, Tom Brady is out in the second half and here comes Blaine Gabbert. And if that's going to be the case, probably not worth playing him over someone like Pickett. Hawkinson or Higbee, more confidence. I mean, at that point, the volume of targets that Hawkinson gets, 37 targets in the last 3 games. So theoretically, 37 divided by 3, we have 12.33 targets per game divided by 2 halves of football. So let's say he gets 6 targets in the first half. Let's say he catches about 75% of them. So he catches 4 targets, 40 yards. I mean, at that point, it's not the greatest overall day, but that's when we isolate and just guess just outright performance. And the question is, if in fact, okay, theoretically, we're getting into a situation where the Minnesota Vikings are going to blow out the Chicago Bears, don't we think there's a potential in which Hawkinson can find the end zone and be one of those contributing factors to that blowout? And if he does find the end zone early enough, then he's the better play, right? But overall, again, week 18, up in the air. I'll take Hawkinson there, though, right now. If the Bucs rest their starters, would Rachaad White get more touches? Or they rest him too? Well, as of right now, Rachaad White is technically the RB1 on their depth chart. He's been that for the last couple weeks. If they're going to rest their starters, which they're not, right? But let's say, for example, they were to pull their starters in the second half, the assumption would be that Leonard Fournette would still sit because he's the veteran. Because they don't want to put extra miles on his body. They would allow Rachaad White to run more, and that's why I have him ranked higher. Are you worried about Goff versus the Jets? Goff does not play the Jets. Goff plays against the Packers today, Arnold. Mr. Fernandez says, do you guys think Eckler will be rested? As in not play? There's a chance. Again, totally depends on whether or not the Baltimore Ravens win that game. Deering Outdoors says, Mark Andrews still the number 2 if Huntley is out. If Huntley is out, at this point, no. Mark Andrews is not the number 2. Mark Andrews probably is not played in my mind, but Yeah, if Huntley is deemed out, I would probably venture to say, let me switch back to my rankings. I'd probably venture to say that I'd have Mark Andrews ranked at number 12. So I'd pluck him out, move everybody up one, and throw him in at number 12. So I'd send him to the back of the line there, and rightfully so, because I don't trust that third string quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. So yeah, that's kind of the thought process. David says Godwin or Jacoby Myers. Yeah, I'll take Myers there. Again, I don't know how long Godwin's going to play for. And flex, Rashad White, Jonathan Williams, or Godwin. Out of the group there, again, considering there is not as much information as we'd like there to be, it's probably a situation where Jonathan Williams could be a safer play. I like the Rashad White play, though, primarily because of the Atlanta Falcons matchup. So I'll take Rashad White there, and I'll take Myers out for the wide receiver play there beforehand there, David. Thank you. Al G says Zeke or Jamal Williams, half PPR. Again, rankings on screen are for a half PPR scoring format, updated as of this morning. So I'll take Jamal Williams there. Eat the pain away. Yep, I can relate. Yeah, I mean, they're really what it is. Here's the thing about fantasy football, right? As much as I prepare for it, there are some circumstances in which, despite all of my analysis being logical and making pure sense, sometimes the outcome doesn't make sense, whether it is positively or negatively, right? Whether it's like, hey, I think this guy's going to play terribly and he has an incredible game, or I think this guy's going to play really good and then it goes opposite, he plays really bad. Either way, a lot of the expectation that I have, even though results may be incorrect, a lot of the overall work that I put in typically is in the right track. But, guys like last week, Devonta Adams, despite having, everything working against them, has an incredible, 30-point game. This week, everything is not working against them. Boom, he goes for 7 points, disappears. Congratulations, It's just tough sometimes. It's tough to work through stuff like that. Are the Vikings a good defense to start today? Yes. Again, on screen, rankings for defense, Vikings are number 4 overall. So do with that what you will. Otherwise, I'd only ever play the Eagles, 49ers, and Cowboys ahead of them today in terms of defenses. Thank you. All right, so we took care of those questions. Awesome. Little tip says, Bengals or Cowboys defense? Yeah, I'll take the Cowboys there today. Thank you. What is this? So yeah, Tyler Huntley is out. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. And that was just updated as of right now. So technically, what I will go ahead and do is I will adjust my rankings on screen. We're going to move Mark Andrews, unfortunately, down. I mean, look, it is what it is. As much as like Mark Andrews with backup quarterbacks all season long is not the same anymore. Last year, he got away with it. This year, not so much. And as much as I think he probably will be the only funnel receiving option within that offense, it's very difficult to trust him in any sort of capacity, especially with Anthony Brown at quarterback. So I will go ahead and subsequently push him down the list of rankings, and then we'll keep it moving. Let me go ahead, let me make some adjustments here really quickly. Okay, that's that. And then I need to turn back on the other graphics. Where the heck are they, though? That's not it. Where did my other... I gotta find my other graphics. What the heck did I do this morning? Aha, there they are. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's move Mark Andrews down a significant margin. And bada boom, we are in this conversation. Actually, you know what? It's probably like number 11. I don't think would I play him over Freiermuth? Yeah, I probably would play over Freiermuth. That's fine. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let's update these rankings. Boom, done. File, save as copy. Oh man, week 18. What a glorious weekend. I mean, when I say glorious, I mean what a shambles. I mean, like, what a complete disaster. All right, so that's done. I've updated the rankings on screen. You can see now that Mark Andrews is significantly lower than he was a little bit earlier, and for good reason. It's definitely going to be difficult to trust him in comparison to earlier than, when you change the quarterback position up there. Okay, Arnold says Kelsey did not come through like I needed him to. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the crazy thing. Kelsey was so good earlier this season. He was on pace for being the best tight end performance in the history of the entire fantasy football landscape. He was on pace for eclipsing Rob Gronkowski's legendary season of 2011. And then he all of a sudden just completely disappears. It's rough to see. Let's see here. Zach Moss or AJ Dillon. I'll take AJ Dillon there. Ollie. Zach says Greg Dortch, Michael Pittman Jr. or Mike Williams. I'll take Mike Williams there. Cody says, okay, well, here's the thing, right? Whenever I suggest a Chargers player, again, for those of you who are just joining us this morning, just a fair warning. I have an exclamation point next to every single Chargers player for good reason. If, in fact, the expectation is that the Baltimore Ravens lose this game, and now that they're starting Anthony Brown and they're sitting Tyler Huntley and J.K. Dobbins, they do not have an effective offense. Therefore, if the expectation is that the Baltimore Ravens are losing this game, there is a very high likelihood that our Chargers prospects, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert, are going to potentially sit in the second half. Now, is that a guarantee? No. I don't know what their coaching staff is planning. I don't know what they're doing. Therefore, if you're going to play a Chargers player, I would just purely suggest you have a pivoting option for the afternoon window of games, just in case if we get there and they're like, hey, Mike Williams is a surprise inactive because they don't need to start him. They want to keep him healthy for the playoffs. If something of that occurs, which I doubt it, but let's say, for example, it does, you should have a pivoting option available, whether it's on the Chargers or on another team available to you, just in case. But again, it's tough, man. A lot of playoff implications and a lot of playoff, disasters that are certainly occurring here. Now, in regards to your question, though, if you have Michael Pittman Jr., you have Greg Dortch, and you have, let's see here, Mike Williams, I would probably lean towards the idea that you're going to play Mike Williams. And if, in fact, we get to the afternoon slate and they say Mike Williams is not going to play, I doubt it, but let's say that they do, then you just pivot to Greg Dortch. Thank you. Alrighty, moving on. Let's see here. Jamal Williams needs 2 touchdowns to break the record. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he at least gets 1, right? Because, again, if you guys have seen the touchdowns for Jamal Williams this season, of his 15 touchdowns, I think 8 of them are on the 1-yard line. So there's a very good likelihood that he's going to be in a situation where he'll be on the 1-yard line and, of course, scoring. Let's see here. Elton says, how do you have Justin Jefferson so high if he's not expected to play the whole game? Well, he's not expected to play the whole game, but who's to say he doesn't, right? What happens, let's say, for example, if the Minnesota Vikings come out, they throw 3 interceptions in the first quarter, and then they have to fight their way back into a victory, right? At this current, position, I'm expecting Justin Jefferson to probably be somewhat of a 15-point player, even by only playing in the first half. That's how much upside I truly believe he has, especially considering if you look at the cornerbacks of the Chicago Bears, their entire secondary is injured. I think they only have Kyler Gordon. Maybe even Kyler Gordon's inactive today. That's the only player. He's a slot corner. He's a nickel. So no one's going to be really, they have all backups covering Justin Jefferson. And he's 193 yards away from the record. I'm thinking they're going to try to push for it. We'll see. Let's see here. Okay, we had a couple questions sent in for your super chat. Thank you very much for those of you guys who sent that in. CB says, thanks for all the wisdom. Made 2 out of my 3 finals in a full PPR. I need 2 wide receivers: Christian Watson, Allen Lazard, London, Godwin, Dotson, also Algier or Dillon. I'll take Algier over Dillon today. As for your wide receiver plays, I'm probably leaning towards the idea of playing both of the Green Bay wide receivers. I'll probably play Lazard and Christian Watson there. Thank you, CB. I Love Women says, start 3. I need ceiling. I'm sitting at a 26% chance of winning. Full PPR, Algier, Dalvin Cook, Mike Williams, Olave, Isaiah McKenzie, DJ Chark, Cordero Patterson, and Elijah Mitchell. Start 3 out of this group. If we're looking for ultimate upside, Algier has to be a start. I think Dalvin has to be a start, and Olave has to be a start. Those 3. And we just hope for the best. Thank you. Michael Reeves says, pick 4, full PPR. I'm up 50 points in the championship week. Zach Moss, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Algier, Latavius, Ramondre, Christian Watson. In a full PPR scoring format, I'd play DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Algier, and my final option out of the group. I kind of want to, I mean, considering you're up 50, I kind of want to mess around and play Christian Watson there. But it's probably just safest to play like a Ramondre or Latavius. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Alrighty. Ali is his prediction is Packers 27 and 10, Lions 10, huh? Interesting. I feel like that's a very high scoring number for the Packers. I don't really see that their offense can launch themselves into that area, especially if they're, I mean, damn, the expectation that they blow out the Lions in a playoff game as such, I mean, it really is going to be a playoff game. So, interesting. We'll see. Dominic says, Aaron Rodgers or Jared Goff? Also, would you play Jacoby Myers over Justin Jefferson or Mike Williams? I'd be willing to play him over Mike Williams, but again, I'd be willing to play him over Mike Williams. That's kind of the limit, though. I'm not playing him over Justin Jefferson. I don't like it, but I'd be willing to do it. Just putting it that way. Andrews is out. Is he really? Oh no, dude, they're packing it in. Let's see here. Let me travel to the Twitter world and let me see what the Ravens inactives are today. Okay, so let's see here. There's a fat list of players that are inactive. Okay, here we go. You guys ready? I'm gonna read this list. So we have Marcus Peters inactive. We have Brian Burns for the Panthers inactive. We have CJ Uzama inactive. Marcus May for the Saints is inactive. That was expected though. Ryan Ramczyk inactive. That doesn't help the New Orleans Saints running attack. Who else is inactive? Let's see here. Stephon Gilmore is inactive. That's why we have Brandon Cooks on screen. He should be a pretty good play. Mark Andrews is inactive. Who else? Julio Jones inactive. Zadarius Smith inactive. Anthony Brown will start. Tyler Huntley's out. Davis Webb is going to start for the Giants. That was expected. J.K. Dobbins is out. And that's it. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's remove Mark Andrews from the tight end rankings. Let me go grab my 17th tight end, who is currently Noah Fant, and let's bring him onto the rankings list and move Mark Andrews out of there, huh? Actually, you know what? We could probably play... we could technically play Isaiah Likely, but, I mean, could we trust him? No. Just can't. Not in week 7, or not in week 18, excuse me. Not in week 18. All right, let me go ahead. Let's adjust and or update this graphic real quick on screen. Man, this is crazy. This is just insane. This is it is what it is. You guys know how it is. If you've ever played in a week 18, you know that this is how it is every single year. It doesn't really change from this kind of a position. All right, so let's go ahead, save that. Good to go. You know, there is even more of a precedent now to just not start your Chargers, but I mean, at this point, I don't even know where I would rank Eckler. If he's only playing in the first... I mean, I don't even know if he plays. Like, I straight don't know. I have no clue. He could legitimately sit, and we would have no clue until we get to the afternoon window. So, if you have Eckler, please have Joshua Kelly on roster. If you have Mike Williams or Keenan Allen, please have other wide receivers that you can pivot to in the afternoon window. On top of it, if you have Justin Herbert, he's your best quarterback on roster. Look for an alternative option that plays in the afternoon slate. The afternoon slate specifically being at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which would either be 49ers, Cardinals, Cowboys, Commanders, Rams, Seahawks, Eagles, Giants, Broncos, Lions, Packers. So if Russ Wilson, if Sam Howell, Brock Purdy are available, could be decent plays there in that regard. Worst case scenario, you play David Blau and roll with it. Okay, let's see here. We have that. We're good to go. We had a couple more questions that came in my direction. We had Rusty Wright says, weeks 18 sucks. Yeah, that's a given. Think it's okay to play Rashad? Rachaad White, or yeah, Rachaad White would be pretty. I think he'd be a pretty good play. Now, as to whether or not he's going to get, absolute unstoppable opportunity, I mean, it's purely a matter of how well the Tampa Bay Buccaneers want to start off that game. If they play well, Rachaad White will be a great play because he typically starts in the first drive. And if he can fall into the end zone, he'd be an even better play. But otherwise, I think he'll get enough receptions, get enough rushing work to be, a solid 8 to 10 point player. And at that point, a decent play within the week. I can get Washington's running back, Jarrett Patterson, or maybe Gus with no Huntley move up. No, I'd still rather play Rachaad White there. I meant Washington's running back, Williams. Yeah, okay, at that point, I'd rather play Jonathan Williams. Yeah, if you have the ability to go get Jonathan Williams, I think that's probably a better play overall. Let me go see here. Did Adam, let's see. Okay, what do we had here? Okay. We had those inactives. Is there anything new in terms of inactives? No. Okay, so we're chilling there. No new information. Andrew's going to have to, did I save the file? Let me see. Yes, I did. Okay, cool. So that's finished. I'm actually going to adjust my defensive rankings. I got to launch the Cincinnati Bengals up a little bit here. So if I go ahead and I turn off the tight end and quarterback graphic, boom, boom, and I turn on these 3 graphics, technically Cincinnati with no Tyler Huntley out there, it just seems like Cincinnati at this point is probably a better play than Minnesota. I'm launching them. I think they're the 4th best defense going into the remainder of the week. So that's how I will potentially kind of approach the situation. So we'll go ahead, file, save as. We'll save that graphic accordingly, and then we'll get back into answering some questions, man. Goodness gracious. What an exciting / stressful week. There's so much that we do not know. And it does suck that these coaches keep it so secretive. Like, I understand. They have no obligation to tell us anything, and they should feel no obligation to do so. But it really does hurt us as fantasy managers who are trying to enjoy our beautiful Week 18 here because we just don't know. It's just unfortunate. Okay, so as you can see on screen, we no longer have Mark Andrews there. He's out. As you can see on screen, in terms of kicker and defensive rankings, I've launched the Cincinnati Bengals up to number 4. So if you guys have any questions in regards to kicker and defensive rankings, you can approach as such. Actually, what I have to actually do is get rid of Justin Tucker as a kicker. I'll fix the ranking later if I need to get there. But for right now, just be, mindful that Justin Tucker probably should be pivoted from. If you have Justin Tucker on roster, you should probably go find another kicker to play today. Okay, thank you. Alrighty, let's see here. Let's get back to answering some of these questions. Michael Reeves says, is it safe to play T. Higgins now? Is it safe to play him? I mean, oh my God. So are we assuming that the Cincinnati Bengals blow out the Baltimore Ravens that fast? I don't think it's going to be the case. I think you can confidently start all of your Cincinnati Bengals because there is still the majority, if not the entirety, of that defense for the Ravens playing. So I'm fine playing T. Higgins. It's still going to be tough to score the ball. Or there's still going to be a challenge there. Not going to be tough for them, though. I Love Women had one more question. It says, full PPR, ceiling, Aaron Rodgers or Jared Goff? I think Aaron Rodgers has the higher ceiling. Jared Goff, an away game in Lambeau with the weather, all those conditions, I think Aaron Rodgers has the better overall upside there in that current circumstance. Cash Kid says, I have a feeling Deshaun Watson will have another good game today. Well, hey, maybe so. If he does, be sure to check out PrizePicks. Go ahead. Let me actually see. Does he even have a number in terms of fantasy points? Let's see. Where is Deshaun Watson? Let's go to fantasy points score. Let's see here. Does Watson have anything? Deshaun Watson is at 16 fantasy points. I mean, I think he could. I mean, that's an interesting number that he could potentially eclipse. The crazy number for Deshaun Watson is that thus far this season, in the 5 games he has played, he has surpassed 20.5 rushing yards in every single one of them. They currently have that number up on PrizePicks, 20.5. So he's done it in all 5 of the consecutive weeks. We'll probably do it again. So if you guys are interested, again, link is in the description. Use promo code Andrew. And like we have on screen here, some of my favorite plays for the week, Garrett Wilson and Tyler Conklin going more on their overall receiving yards, along with James Cook, Kenneth Walker going more on the rushing yards. And the Dolphins, I don't know why there's a O after Dolphins. Andrew, obviously, the graphics are not, listen, I got to go fix it. The Dolphins with more than 2 sacks today. That's the expectation, primarily because George Fant and Dwayne Brown, both the right and left tackle that are starting for the Jets, are both out this week. So certainly will allow more pass rush to get after the immobile nature of Joe Flacco. All right, let me go ahead. Let's update my rankings. I just bit my tongue while talking. Holy crap. Why did that hurt? Okay. Michael Reeves says full PPR, Jacoby Myers or Ramondre Stevenson. I'd play Jacoby there. Dalton Schultz or Taysom Hill. In a half PPR, I'm playing Dalton Schultz there. Yeah. Let's see here. Aaron Cooley says in a half PPR scoring format, flex Amari Cooper, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Algier, or Christian Watson. Out of the 4, I'd rather play Algier. Replace Andrews with likely McBride, Tunyon, or Hurst. Yeah, at this point, just to kind of play it out on screen, I have Hayden Hurst as the highest ranked tight end of the available ones. So I play Hayden Hurst there. Thank you. All right, let me fix these rankings here. So I got to get rid of Justin Tucker. So that means I got to add another kicker to this conversation. And then I got to get rid of this O next to the Dolphins. So that's done. The Dolphins. Boom. Actually, maybe we just call it Miami Dolphins. Maybe Dolphins defense. Haha. Okay. Let's add that there. Boom. Okay. And then I need to find my next kicker on my rankings. Let's go here. Apologies for the delay. Just want to make sure I get all the rankings up on screen up to date so that we're not really stressing about anything at this point. Let's see here. So the next man up in this circumstance would then be Matt Gay. So we'll throw him into the conversation for Justin Tucker. Because at that point, I mean, can we really trust Justin Tucker? Probably not. Not with that offense. Okay. So we'll have that. Boom. Set it. Save this graphic. Perfect. Okay, finished. Hopefully that's the last graphic change I have to make. If it's not, so be it. I'll continue to change them up. Dominic says Aaron Rodgers or Jared Goff. Again, like I have on screen, I'll take Aaron Rodgers there over Jared Goff. Again, Jared Goff in the 7 away games he's played this season only has 6 passing touchdowns. In the 8 or I think it's 9 home games that he's played this season, he has 23 passing touchdowns. He's a significantly better player indoors and at home in comparison to on the road in a terrible weather situation, which will be very cold. Constantino says, what's up, Andrew? This is the final live stream of the year. I mean, no, it's not. Definitely not. I mean, maybe technically of the season, but no, actually not even of of the fantasy season, yes, but I'll be live streaming, doing some PrizePick entries for Wild Card weekend and every subsequent weekend. So I'll be around in terms of talking about NFL playoffs. I'll have my predictions later on in this week, but that's that. Either way, you just wanted to say thanks for all the hard work, trying to get my 3rd championship out of in 5 years. Been here since the beginning. Thank you very much, Constantino. I appreciate that. Chris says, so would you start the Bengals defense over the Seahawks? Yes, I would. Think Hurts plays the full game? No. Hurts is not going to play the full game, but even if he doesn't, he probably is still a 15-point quarterback base minimum, if not better. Aaron says, thanks for getting me to the finals. Hey, let's just hope we can capture it, man. That's the whole thing. We can get there, but the whole point is to try to win that whole thing. Team Repo says, full PPR. I need 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 1 flex. Jefferson, Pittman, Rashid Shaheed, Pickens, Dotson, Dillon, Jeff Wilson, Jonathan Williams, James Cook, Madison, or Elijah Mitchell. So 2 running backs here would be A.J. Dillon and Jeff Wilson Jr. Boom, boom. The 2 wide receivers I'd play are Justin Jefferson and probably Michael Pittman Jr. And the flex that I'm rolling with is probably Jonathan Williams. Thank you. Actually, let me think about this, actually. I think it's probably safer in a full PPR scoring format, technically, to go Jefferson, Pittman, Dillon, Williams, and Shaheed. That's probably the safer option. Eagle says, Jefferson or T. Higgins in a full PPR? I'm still going to play Jefferson there. Again, guys, just because I'm stubborn on the fact that I don't want to move Jefferson off of number one doesn't mean that you don't have an opportunity of benching him. It's your team. You can make that decision on your own. If it's me and I'm playing in week 18, I can't not start Justin Jefferson. I just can't. There's no way I'd be able to live with myself, especially if this guy goes for 20 points in the first half with 2 receiving touchdowns and 100 receiving yards, and then they bench him in the second half. Okay, great. They could bench him, but if he got me 20 fantasy points, that's all that I really needed, right? That's more than I would probably ask for. Let's see here. Donald Smith says, Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara, fire them both up. Who Dat Nation party in San Antonio. You all invited? All right, thanks, Donald. Ryan Ramczyk is out, though, so that's definitely going to hurt. That's actually 3 of their start. So when the season began, right, that means 4 of their starting 5 offensive linemen since the beginning of the season are out today. So they've definitely got some backups in there for sure. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to run the ball than usual. I would potentially predict to say. Eagle, no problem. Glad I can help. Stevenson or Kamara? At this point, I'll probably again pivot to the rankings on screen. I'll play Kamara there. Thank you. Kamara's just getting more opportunity overall. Do you take Sam Darnold over Goff? Would I take him over Goff? I could be convinced to do so. But I also like the New Orleans defense. I think Sam Darnold could fall into some troubles. They could very easily exist. So I probably just still play Goff there. Tyrone Jenkins says, thanks, Andrew, helping me go home with the championship this year. Hey, congratulations. I'm glad I can help, man. Taysom Hill or likely, I'll play Taysom Hill there. Will Roberts says, if Eckler doesn't play, is Joshua Kelly a must start? Yes, he would be. He would be the immediate play there against Denver. J-Bo says, Njoku or Taysom Hill in a PPR? In a full PPR scoring format, I'm probably still playing Taysom Hill there. Follow-up, start 2, Deebo Samuel, Garrett Wilson, A.J. Dillon, Jamal Williams, Jonathan Williams. Out of that group of players, I'd play Garrett Wilson alongside of Jamal Williams, J-Bo. And then your final question also for leagues, for another league, David Montgomery or Dalvin Cook? I'd play Dalvin Cook there. Thank you. Irvin Norvius says, or Norvius, Irvin Norvius says, Ramondre Stevenson or Keenan Allen in a full PPR, Schultz or Higbee. So again, considering, okay, so here's the thing. All right, I would technically suggest playing Keenan Allen in a full PPR, but the issue is I don't know if he's going to play. I purely don't. And even if he plays, I don't know for how long. So at this point, considering New England plays in the morning slate, you're probably just better off playing New England and just rolling there, because otherwise we're probably in a situation where the toss-up of Keenan Allen and how long he plays for is going to be certainly up in the air. Schultz or Higbee? Again, rankings on screen pretty much demonstrate that. I would play Higbee at number 5 and Schultz at number 4. So Schultz would get the start of the 2 from me. Thank you. Carlino says, since Rodgers over Goff, Watson over Amon-Ra St. Brown, full PPR? No. Even with Rodgers playing a better game overall, it does not mean that Watson's technically going to be the better play overall. No, I'd still rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown, especially in a full PPR when the receptions matter that much more. Chris says, can't consider Deontay Johnson over Olave, right? Yeah, I probably wouldn't. Deontay Johnson's tough to trust. I mean, I guess Deontay Johnson can get himself 5 catches for 80 yards and that's a good day for him. But outside of that, I think Olave has a little bit more upside, especially going up against Carolina's secondary that's in shambles. Big Rick says, Andrew, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for all the weekly updates and the insight. Won my second championship this season. Congratulations, Rick. I'm glad I could help. Michael says, don't see any way that Cousins and Jefferson play more than a quarter. Then, Michael, then you know your answer. You know not to start them. But for me, I honestly do not believe that they would actually. Here's the thing, right? Why play them a quarter if you are not going to play them, for the remainder of the game, right? I understand they come in, they play a quarter, done. But 1 quarter is probably not enough, especially when they're still trying to get the number 2 seed in the NFC. They're trying to win this game, right? They're not trying to just show up and then be like, okay, we got a couple reps, we're out, right? They're trying to win this game outright. So in order to do so, they're going to try to pour it on in the first half. So I truly do believe that they're going to play the entirety of the first half. I could be wrong. They could literally play 1 drive and be out. They could play the full game. We don't know. That's the whole thing. That's week 18. Norton says, should I start Purdy to be safe or just roll with Hurts? No, I'm just going to roll with Hurts there. If you want to be safe with it, again, listen, here's the thing. I can't see your team. I don't know how many points you're up, how many points you're down. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what your team looks like overall. But if it's me objectively saying who I think is going to score more points, I think Jalen Hurts in one half of football could probably outscore Purdy. I'm objectively of that opinion. Now, is it going to be accurate? Time will tell. But for right now, that's what I'm leaning with. Jalen Waddle or Allen Lazard? At this point, I mean, again, with Skylar Thompson at quarterback, it's just safer to play Allen Lazard. It really is. Skylar Thompson is just a mess. Why is Lazard higher than Watson? Because Watson's injured. Still dealing with injury. Mako says, do I start Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, Justin Jefferson, or Devonta Smith in a full PPR? Please start one wide receiver in a flex this week. If I'm starting two options there, it's Kenneth Walker and Justin Jefferson. That's what I would roll with. Appreciate it, Mako. And one flex. Okay, so if you need one wide receiver, one running back, and one flex, it would be Kenneth Walker. It'd be Jefferson. And the final option of this group is probably Pollard. Yeah. Thank you. What do we have here? Would you still start Eckler over Dalvin? Dude, I don't know what to do with Eckler. Because, again, he's fully contingent on the Cincinnati Bengals losing that game. Now, the thing is, by the time... Okay, so here's the reality, okay? Let's be logical about this. Theoretically, once, in fact, Austin Eckler begins to warm up, right? Warm up for the game. That'll probably be at 11 p.m. So probably like 2 hours before the game starts, they're going to start warming up, all right? My thought process is, no matter what he's playing, it's just a matter of how long he plays for. Because without a doubt in my mind, they're going to be preparing all while that game between the Baltimore Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals probably is just in the third quarter. So they're not going to know until they start their game as to what the heck is going to happen in that Baltimore game. Because you never know. Maybe Baltimore shows up, wins the game. You never know, right? Any given Sunday. But at this current circumstance, we do expect Eckler to play. It's just the volume of how much, which makes it tough, especially, when we talk about him versus Dalvin. James Cook or Isaiah McKenzie, flex full PPR. I'll take James Cook there. Dube6787 says pick two: Alexander Madison, Dalvin Cook, Rashad White, Austin Eckler, Algier. Yeah, again, I'm going to probably lean towards playing Eckler and Cook. If you're worried about it, you probably just roll with Algier and Rashad White. Devonta Smith or Stephon Diggs. Yeah, I'm playing Stephon Diggs there against New England secondary. Andrew, last question. Bengals defense or Vikings with the news update? Yeah, again, I've updated my rankings on screen. Let me go ahead and transition to them. I have the Cincinnati Bengals as my number 4 defense going into the week. Therefore, I would play them over Minnesota. Sid Hawkinson for Schultz. You can if you'd like. That's perfectly fine by me. Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. Again, I have Josh Allen ahead of Joe Burrow this week. Thank you. Algier or Garrett Wilson in the flex full PPR. In a full PPR, I'd rather play Garrett Wilson. Let's see here. What else do we have? Awesome. Am I justified starting Tony Pollard or Algier over Dalvin Cook and Ramondre? Yes, you're justified in starting both of them over. Yeah, there's a 100% justification for playing Pollard and Algier over Dalvin Cook and Ramondre without a doubt in my mind. 100%. 100%. Again, even though the rankings are as such, guys, again, you're the final decision makers. I do not mind the idea of playing Algier over Dalvin Cook. In no capacity do I have any gripe with that. No capacity at all. Cook or Mike Williams? Yeah, at that point, you're just playing Cook. Yeah, don't even worry about the Mike Williams scenario at that point. Okay, is there any new updates? 3 minutes ago, what is that? Okay, that's nothing. Okay, no problem. Hi, Andrew. Hawkinson or McBride? Worried about the amount of reps. If you're worried about the amount of reps, you can certainly play McBride there. I don't like the matchup against the 49ers in specific, but you can certainly try it and see how it goes. Xavier says Dak or Joe Burrow, given it seems like the Ravens are shutting down. I mean, look, that's the thing, right? The Ravens' offense is shutting down. Their defense, they're still starting Calais Campbell. they're rolling, right? So if they're going to be in a situation where their defense is still giving a 100% effort, which I expect because a lot of these guys are still trying to meet their incentives and put good film on tape, the expectation is that Joe Burrow is going to be fighting and battling and hopefully going to put up 4 or 5 touchdowns today as an offense. So that's the expectation. So I'm still rolling with Burrow there. Moving on, we had another question here. Andrews is out for the day. Yeah, we know that. We're good to go. We've already adjusted rankings at tight end. For those of you who are here, by the way, if you guys could do me a solid, it'd be greatly appreciated. I know it just takes 2 seconds out of your day. If you guys could click that like button down below, it's really appreciated. All I ask is for 30 more likes. Let's get over 100, and then I will never ask for that for the remainder of today's stream. But that'd be greatly appreciated if you guys can help me out there in terms of clicking the like button. Thank you. Joshua says Pollard or Garrett Wilson in the flex. It's in a half PPR, I'd rather play Pollard. In a full PPR, I could be convinced of the Garrett Wilson play, but I'd probably still go with Pollard there. Pittman or Michael Williams? Pittman or Michael Williams? Michael Pittman or Michael Williams? Considering, okay, here's my question. What's your pivot option? Right? At this point, it's probably just play Michael Pittman because Chargers players are really tough to trust. Like, maybe I got to readjust all the rankings here. It's just tough, man, because I don't know what they're going to do. I have no clue. Like, if I'm the Chargers, right? Even if there was a chance of getting the number 5 seed, I still wouldn't play my starters. I don't get why Tampa Bay's playing their starters. I don't know why Minnesota's doing it. Stay healthy. Get a bye week. I don't get these teams. But hey, the mystery of what is going to happen today is just the pure nature of week 18, huh? Juan says, how come there's leagues playing in week 18? That's a fantastic question. I think typically ESPN formats are like defaulted to that. I think that's why. I don't have a single team in week 18. And I mean, for good reason. I don't want to deal with this chaos. So yeah, I think that's primarily why, Juan. Pitch says, I just can't bring myself to start Kirk over Aaron Rodgers. Just because Aaron Rodgers is a must-win and playing up against Detroit. Yeah, I mean, again, play him. You're fine. Listen, I have no problem with that. Guys, at the end of the day, as much as I am leaning on my rankings on screen, it doesn't mean that they're going to be accurate. That's the thing, right? Because I can guarantee that probably the rankings today are going to be the most inaccurate rankings of the entire year. Because when I don't know if, how much specific players are playing, that really does throw everything into a blender. Because at this point, my assumption is that somebody will play for half the game. Maybe they play one snap and then they're done. They get one snap, they get their game check, they get out. You don't know. It's just it is just too chaotic in this circumstance. Would you play Jonathan Williams, Zach Moss, or Mostert? At this point, again, rankings on screen. Jonathan Williams at 24, Mostert at 21, Zach Moss at 25. So I'll play Mostert there at 21 out of the group. Is McCaffrey still a good play? Or go with Walker? Oh, goodness. Yeah, I'd still play McCaffrey there. He had a full practice on Friday. I don't know why you wouldn't play Walker as well. I mean, who's your next best option at running back there, Guillermo? Dak or Goff? 100% Dak. Is Tampa Bay defense sitting their starters? A lot of their starters are out. So not all of them, though. They're still playing Levante David and their linebacker White. They're still playing a lot of their main guys, but some of the guys that have been dealing with injuries I just bit my tongue again, are sitting. Why am I biting my tongue? Johnny Moss says, what props do you like for PrizePicks today? Okay, so the ones that I primarily like are on the bottom right of the screen right now. So I like Garrett Wilson going over his receiving yard total, along with Tyler Conklin doing the same. I like James Cook going over his rushing yard total, and Kenneth Walker going over his rushing yard total. And then the Dolphins to have more than 2 sacks. Those are the 5 that I've kind of curated as of this morning, kind of looking over everything. I certainly believe that the Miami Dolphins secondary is perfectly fine, but Joe Flacco in this lineup means that they're going to be passing the entire game. And with that being taken into account, and the fact that Conklin and Garrett Wilson have both had successful games on multiple occasions earlier this season, weeks 1 through 3 with Flacco, is a guarantee there. James Cook, the last time he took on the New England Patriots, dominated, had a huge game there. and probably can do once again if, in fact, the score begins to lean in the direction of the Buffalo Bills. They'll start to run out the clock. I think 30 yards is a number that James Cook could very easily accomplish within the first 3 quarters, if not the first half. As for Kenneth Walker, again, he'll be able to run through that defense. He's been able to go over 100 plus rushing yards consecutive games. And we know that the Rams defense, of course, they're in autopilot mode at this point. And then again, the Dolphins, the only reason I have them with more than 2 sacks is because the expectation without starting left and right tackles is that there's going to be a lot of pressure going in the direction of Joe Flacco, and sacks will occur because of his inability to be able to get out of the pocket and scramble away from that kind of stuff. Constantino says, come on, folks. It's week 18, and your boy Andrew's still working his tail. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. We already got over 100 likes. I appreciate that, guys. Dotson or Jonathan Williams? I'll play Jonathan Williams there. Red Farm. Godwin or Schultz? I'd rather play Schultz there. Tough pick here, Dak or Goff for the chip. I'll take Dak. Yeah, Dak Prescott is probably an easy one. Purdy or Tom Brady? I'll take Purdy. Quick, everyone. Walker or Akers? I'll take Akers. I'll take Walker. The rankings are on screen. Andrew had them back-to-back. Do I have them back-to-back? Kenneth Walker and Cam Akers? I do. Hey, listen, they're both fantastic plays. Start them both. There's no better format than fantasy playoffs. Wait, what does it say? No. What does it say? No, there's better format than playoff fantasy football. It's total points, fantasy football head-to-head record. Oh, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's not bad. That's not a bad idea, Lon. Higbee or Jerry Jeudy for the flex? I'll probably play Jerry Jeudy there. Justin Jefferson stressing me out, not going to lie. I don't blame you. I don't blame you that it's stressing you out. But, at this point, I can't even. I won't even speak to it anymore. I've already voiced my opinion. Joe Mixon or Pollard? I'll play Pollard there. Lon says championship gets the most points in the year. Yeah, listen. In the so that's basically like you're playing. It's like best ball, but not really, right? But you're basically playing total points scored. Which again, Lon, that shows purely with who has the most skill, right? Whatever team scores the most points by the end of the year, it does not matter whether it's head-to-head matchup. Highest point total by the end of the year is the better team and the better fantasy player. So I agree, Lon. That is typically the best way of going about it. The only issue is a lot of us, what we play for in terms of fantasy is to have that competitive nature against our friends every single week, talk smack, all that kind of jazz, go up against them. If you eliminate that from the overall picture, it becomes a lot more of a serious league. It becomes a lot more of a, hey, we don't even need to communicate. I'm just going to play my game and let's hope for the best, Rachaad White or Jonathan Williams this week, full PPR. I think I have Jonathan Williams ahead of him. So that's where I'm leaning towards. Salutations, Andrew. I've got Olave, but is Lazard better upside because he's playing against for something? Yeah, look, at this point, the only reason I like Lazard more is because Watson's a little bit banged up. That's probably the only reason Lazard sits in his current position. And they go against Detroit, which again is one of the worst secondaries in the league. So that's kind of the direction I'm leaning in there. Olave's got upside. It's just I don't really trust that offense as a whole. Lockett, Lazard, or Shaheed? Yeah, I'm probably playing Lockett there if he's active. If you're worried about the injury of Lockett, you just pivot to Lazard. Quaid says, you may have already covered this, but with Mark Andrews being out, would you start Likely over Knox? No, I'm not going to play Isaiah Likely. I just don't trust the quarterback. Anthony Brown isn't someone that I can trust to get enough targets in the direction of Isaiah Likely. So I'll play Knox there. Christian Watson and Ramondre Stevenson in a half PPR. I play Ramondre there. Sneaky Alpha says Josh Allen or Joe Burrow at quarterback. I'll play Josh Allen. Thank you. Black says, so Jerry Jeudy, Jahan Dotson, Jeff Wilson Jr. in the flex. If I'm playing one in the flex, it's probably Jerry Jeudy there. Juan says, if you don't mind me asking, what's the biggest pot you play for in leagues? I don't know if I want to say. We'll just leave it at that. It's yesterday I referred to it as a frivolous amount. So it's very irresponsible. I'll put it that way. Let's see here. Chargers or Broncos? Chargers or Broncos? Okay, so Here's the thing. Julian, are we asking for defense? Are you asking specifically for defense? If we can clarify that, that'd be fantastic. Chris, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Says Drake London, Mike Evans, or Deebo Samuel, full PPR. Considering the entire nature of this week, I'm still leaning towards Deebo. Yeah, I'd still probably go Deebo, London, Evans in that order. Why Bengals defense ranked so high? So J.K. Dobbins, Mark Andrews, Tyler Huntley are all out this week. So the Bengals are an automatic for defense this week. Samaj says Eckler, Walker, and Akers. You know what? I wouldn't blame you for playing Walker and Akers over Austin Eckler. Just saying. I wouldn't blame you. Cameron says, just joined. Sorry if you already covered this, but is Jefferson playing in the second half? What's the update on that? There is no update on that. The expectation is that this team wants to win. Okay, let me look at the NFL standings really quickly. Actually, let's just look up NFL playoff picture, right? I think that's probably a good way of going about this. So technically, in terms of the NFC, considering the Philadelphia Eagles are 13-3, and then we have 3 other teams at 12-4, which is the 49ers, Vikings, and the Cowboys. Theoretically, if the Eagles were to lose that game, they would then be put into a situation where they would have an opportunity to lose the number 1 seed overall. Now, is that probably going to happen? No, because they're playing against the second team offense and defense of the New York Giants. So the Eagles will probably win that game. So the only reason the Minnesota Vikings are playing is to win in order to get the number 2 seed. The only way they can do so is if, in fact, they win and the Cowboys lose. So, quite honestly, there's a very high likelihood that nobody on the Vikings plays in the second half who's a starter. Maybe they play the first drive of the second half, maybe. But at that point, you're probably going to see 55% of their usual production. But the caveat is they play against the Chicago Bears, who are awful. And I truly do believe there is a good chance where the Minnesota Vikings could score 28 points on offense just in the first half alone. Very easily. So that's kind of why I'm leaning in their direction. I honestly think there could be a first half in which Kirk Cousins has 3 passing touchdowns, one to Hawkinson, one to Jefferson, one to Thielen, and then he rushes in a touchdown with Dalvin Cook, and they're up 24-3 at halftime, and that's what it is, you know. And they're all relevant fantasy. It's definitely in the realm of possibility. Is it a guarantee? Absolutely not. We still playing J-Jet. They have the number 3 seed. I mean, listen, again, you don't have to play J-Jet. But my thing is, if he's playing, I'm starting him. Because there's no way I can't start him. What do you think about Alexander Mattison? I mean, could he play well? Yes, he should be. But can you trust him? Let's say, for example, we get into a scenario here where the score is quite literally, like I was mentioning, 28-0, maybe even 35-0 at halftime, okay? What if we get into a scenario where in the second half, they're running the ball with Alexander Mattison and they're just up the gut 1, 2, 3 yards a pop, and then that's it. It's probably a scenario there where it's like, yeah, Alexander Mattison could be great, but is it a guarantee that he's going to be a startable option? Probably not. With Baltimore inactive, does Gus Edwards move above Cordero Patterson and Moss? No. I mean, again, the Cincinnati Bengals, like I've mentioned in weeks prior, whenever they play up against the quarterback that can't throw the ball, just purely can't throw the ball, they completely shut down the running game. So if anything, Gus Edwards is probably a lesser play in the given week. DeAndre Swift or Chris Olave, I'd play DeAndre Swift there. Angel says, is it over 500? How much do you guys think I make? Is it over 500K? What are you guys on about? How much money do you think how much money do you guys think I have? You guys think I'm a millionaire? What is this? No, dude, the buy-in for my biggest league is not 500K. Are you kidding me? What the heck? How much if I had 500K to bet on a league, I would not be here on a Sunday morning answering questions, guys. I'd be on an island. Grant says in a full PPR, Ramondre Stevenson or Amon-Ra St. Brown. In a full PPR, I'll take Amon-Ra there. Thank you. Appreciate it, Grant. Thank you for the kind words. Devin says, TJ Hawkinson or Taysom Hill? I'll still play Hawkinson there, full PPR. Anthony says, just download a PrizePicks. What's your link? I have no idea what to do. Okay, so there's a link in the description of the video. You can click on that. Boom. Send it. And then when you make that first-time deposit, make sure you use promo code Andrew because it'll double that first-time deposit and you'll be good to go there. So hopefully the link is down in the description. I'm pretty sure it is. Let me look my, yeah, it's there. So you can go click on that link and you'll be good to go. Appreciate it. Or when you sign up, you just have to use promo code Andrew. You don't even have to click the link, but it's down there if you're interested. Thank you again. Appreciate you supporting the channel in that regard. Adam says, are you doing another round of PrizePicks? Yeah. So as of right now, I could probably bring it up on screen as to what. Yeah. Let me go ahead and let me filter through this really quickly, and I'll bring it up on screen. So as of this moment, we are going with this overall play, just so we're all on the same page. So where's Kenneth Walker? Where's good old Kenny Walk? There it is. Boom, boom, boom. And then let's go to where is the Jets receiving options. Boom and boom. Okay, so as of right now, as you guys can see to the bottom right of the screen, those are the 5 picks that I specifically like. Now, if I was to just like throw them up on screen, it's specifically, again, Dolphins going more on their given sack total. James Cook going more. I mean, we're gonna go ahead. You know what? Yeah, I'm not crazy, guys. I'm not crazy. You guys think I'm making, you know, $500? I mean, $500,000 leagues. What are you guys talking about? I mean, I'm making $5 entries here. Okay, the budget is real, right? But it's still fun to play these overall plays. So theoretically, in this circumstance, if I get all 5 correct, 10x, 4 correct, 2x, and then even if I get 3, which honestly, that's worst case scenario, I still get a little bit, you know, of a sprinkle back. Cannot combine defensive players with offense. So I get rid of the Dolphins play there, and then I can do it. I see. Okay, interesting. So theoretically, if I was to pick the Dolphins alongside of another defense, maybe we just take the Dolphins alongside of, let me see here. Where's the Dolphins defense again? So Dolphins there. And then who else is going to get after the quarterback today? Can I have multiple defenses rolling at it? I think we could theoretically, but I don't really like any of these other defenses, to be totally honest. Let's go with the Eagles. Let's just say the Eagles get more than 3 sacks. Okay, that's fine by me. Let's roll with that one. Can I make a $2 entry? Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's good enough. Let's make it a $5 entry, whatever. Let's go. We're rolling it. Okay, cool. That's finished. Awesome. All right, let me get back to answering some of these questions. Pick Brady, Russ, or Darnold. Yeah, between the 3, I'd rather play Darnold. Hurts or Burrow? Yeah, I'll play Burrow there. What does the exclamation point stand for Eckler and Allen? So the exclamation point is a warning. If in fact you are going to play those players, be sure you have a backup option this afternoon, because once in fact the Baltimore Ravens lose, technically the Chargers do not have to play their starters. And if they don't have to play their starters, that means that they're going to be lesser plays than we typically anticipated. So we're probably in a scenario where Joshua Kelly could play just as much as Austin Eckler, which could certainly hurt Austin Eckler's overall baseline. But again, we don't know if that's going to be the case. We just assume that we're probably in a scenario where they will play less than typical. But again, those are all assumptions that I'm making based on what we've seen over the course of the last couple of seasons and over the course of the, what we've, kind of heard Brandon Staley mention in terms of some of his press conferences and interviews this week. If Cincy wins, are we sitting Eckler and starting Joshua Kelly auto start? Technically, are we immediately swapping that? I mean, at this point, I plead the 5th. I don't know. I have no clue. Because the only way I'm sitting Eckler is if he's not playing. That's it. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. What does it say? Lon says you'd be here, but you'd make less videos. LOL. Oh, as in if I had a 500K league? Adil says Andrew's a millionaire confirmed. This is just a hobby. No, this is not just a hobby. This is my life. Okay, there's a difference. All right, if this was a hobby, like Lon was saying, I'd make a lot less videos. Your boy would not be, up all night with 4 hours of sleep for the last 6 months to, just keep it up as a hobby. No. This is my life. Where's Mark Andrews? He's not playing today. You got to bench him. Find an alternative option. Keenan Allen or Christian Watson if the Ravens lose. If the Ravens lose, we probably play Christian Watson there. Oh my God, I hate week 18 so much with a passion. You know what? Probably next year, I'm not doing this. I will refuse to do week 18 stuff. This is it's awful. For you guys, this sucks. For me, this sucks because I have to put my reputation online in terms of suggesting a player in knowing that there's a very high likelihood that it goes to complete disaster purely. So at this point, best of luck, everyone. Every man for themselves. No, I'm just kidding. Man, it's tough. This is really tough. Knox, Hill, Pat Fryermuth, or Conklin. I like Conklin out of the bunch. I think Knox probably has the highest touchdown upside, though. Likely Knox with Andrews out. I'll play Knox there over Isaiah Likely. Flex running back, Tyler Algier, Deontay Foreman, or David Montgomery. Yeah, Tyler Algier without a doubt. Is Elijah Mitchell a sneaky start? I think he's a pretty good start, especially going up against Arizona. In the second half, he'll certainly get himself a pretty solid amount of running attempts there. Kevin says, but why do you rank Hurts number 2 and Burrow 4 in your rankings? Wait, what? Are we... Kevin, are you on mobile maybe? Kevin, if you look at the top right of the screen, I have quarterback rankings there as of this morning. Like when I say like literally up there, you see at top left, it says quarterback. Yeah, if you look at the top right corner, I have quarterback rankings as of this morning. So I have Burrow at 2 and I have Jalen Hurts at 3. So I don't know where you're getting this 2 and 4 thing at, but that's where I have it right now. Let's see here. Some of the leagues use high season point totals, making week 18 a critical week. Yeah, that's awful. I mean, week 18 is a joke. It really is. It's a pure joke. Let's see here. Vic84 says, good morning, Andrew. Won the championships last week. Thanks to you. I just wanted to say thank you for all your help throughout the season. No question today, just supporting. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Vic. Greatly appreciate that. Do I start Eckler? Joe, what's your other option, my friend? What's your other option? Schultz over Njoku? Yes, Schultz over Njoku. Kevin says, no, I'm talking about your video, though. Talking about the video. Oh, as in Friday's video. Why did I rank Hurts number 2 over Burrow? Yeah, the reason why I ranked Hurts over Burrow on Friday was primarily because there was some expectation for the Giants to start some of their starters for the game. But they've already confirmed now, as of this morning, that Davis Webb is going to be starting instead of Daniel Jones. So they're not even starting Tyrod Taylor, their second string quarterback. They're immediately going to their third string quarterback, who they just elevated off the practice squad. So with that being the case, there's less of a likelihood of that game being a competitive back and forth going into the second half. So there's more of a likelihood of Jalen Hurts being pulled after the first 2 quarters. That's why we've moved them down accordingly. In comparison to Friday's video, Kevin. Thank you. Why are we so high on Dalvin still? When they play Madison? Jabo, that's a fantastic question. I don't know. That's it. I don't know. As much as I'd like to give you the accurate answer, I have no clue what they plan on doing. I have no clue. The expectation would be, hey, listen, you know what the beautiful thing is? They should play Alexander Madison the whole game. Just no doubt about it. Dalvin Cook should not see the field today. Don't even risk the injury. If they want to win a Super Bowl this year, they should not be playing in week 18. In no capacity should they be doing so. Therefore, purely, they should be playing Alexander Madison. Are they going to? I mean, it seems like they're starting their main offense, which kind of sucks. Would you start Goddard over Lazard? No, I play Lazard over him in a full PPR. I sat Kirk for T. Higgins. Am I in trouble? No, I don't think you're in trouble. I think you're fine. I mean, Christian Kirk had the best game of the last month for himself yesterday. Honestly, I find that to be a lucky performance because no one else in that offense did diddly squat for the entirety of that game. Except for, of course, Jacksonville's defense, who obviously came in clutch with that touchdown late in the game. Watson or Debo? I'm probably still going to play Debo there. If you want upside, it's probably Watson, though. Like, if you're down a higher volume of points, Greg, Watson's got more upside. I could pick up Breida and the Commanders guy, says Joe R. Joe, what's your prior question there? Joe R. Do I start Eckler? Okay, so your alternative option technically is Zach Moss, Barkley, Jamal. Okay, so Barkley's not going to play, so don't worry about him. You could theoretically pick up the Burrito or the Commanders guy. You have Moss, though, started McKinnon, and you have Rashad White. Now, I mean, at this point, oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm probably just starting Eckler and hoping he falls into the end zone early in that game on the first drive, first two drives at least. Aaron Rodgers or Jalen Hurts? I'll play Jalen Hurts still. I think Jalen Hurts I think Jalen Hurts in the first half of a game is better than Aaron Rodgers in all four quarters this week. David says all the Bucs players are starting, even Fournette. I have the Cowboys defense. Would you flex Godwin or Jonathan Williams? Depends what your scoring format is, but I'm probably playing. Yeah, if it's a full PPR, I'm okay with running with Godwin, but if it's a half or standard, I'm probably playing Jonathan Williams there. Dylan says, do you think Drake will be involved a lot? As in Kenyon Drake? Yeah, even if he is, he's probably not going to be relevant in fantasy. They're not going to be able to run the ball against Cincinnati. They really won't be able to. Stevenson or Mixon? I'd rather have Mixon there. Full PPR, Williams, Jamal, or Jonathan. I mean, those could be a lot of players, right? Williams could be Jamal Williams. Williams could also be Jonathan Williams. Oh, I understand. Williams, Jamal, or Jonathan. There was a question. There was a comma there. I'd rather play Jamal Williams over Jonathan. Laurie. Muse Loco says, with Jamal on the brink of breaking Barry Sanders' record, do you trust him over Swift or do you trust Swift over Watson? Yes, I still trust Swift over Watson. I do, because Watson's injured. That's the biggest caveat to his overall ranking. What's your top kickers of the week? Yep, got them on screen right now. I've just updated it. Look on screen top right. There's my kickers for the week. Abide Los Angeles says start Watson, Keenan Allen, Amon-Ra, Hollywood Brown over Jefferson. Would I start any of them over Jefferson? Probably not. If I was to start any of them over Jefferson, it would probably be Amon-Ra, but I don't really trust it at 100% capacity at this point. Patterson or Algier? Yeah, I'll take Algier there. Why would Tampa Bay play Lenny? Shouldn't it be Rashad White this game? No, Rashad White's actually the starter. Interesting enough. If you go look at the depth chart. They're starting everyone, though. That's for sure. Or they're playing everyone. They're not starting everyone. Every first drive of every game for the last month, Rashad White has played in the first series as a starting running back. So he is the starter of that team. It's just a matter of, at this point, I don't know how much Tampa Bay is going to play. I just don't. I don't know, man. Week 18 is such a disaster. Do you think Sam Darnold can score over 13 points today? I think he can. Is it a guarantee? Most likely not, considering he takes on New Orleans. If Sam Darnold can have 220 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, what is that? That's 8, 9 plus. Yeah, I mean, again, that's actually a pretty good week. Can he do that? Probably not. The only, I probably lean towards the idea that he throws for 1 touchdown, gets himself a little bit of a rushing upside, and then he's decent in terms of passing yardage. So as of right now, I'm thinking we're probably in a position to where that's kind of a toss-up. Why is Prater so high? Matt Prater, 3 consecutive weeks of over 14 fantasy points. They play against San Francisco, which will probably force them to kick a lot of field goals throughout the game. So I'm leaning towards Prater being the best overall kicker in the given week. Sean K says Jefferson is only expected to play a series or 2. Where's the link? I want to know exactly where you read that from. And I want to know if it's a reputable source. Because if it is, then at that point, we'll all know not to play Justin Jefferson. Let's see here. Likely or Hurst? I'll play Hayden Hurst there. Thank you very much, Muse. Appreciate it. Eric M says 2 wide receivers to start PPR: Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Keenan Allen, Deebo Samuel. Considering dude, I don't like any of those players. I'm gonna be totally honest. I think I'd like to play Keenan Allen in a full PPR, right? But I don't know how long he's playing for, and I'll probably pair him up with Deebo Samuel. Mike Evans, again, is a toss-up as to how long he plays for. Jalen Waddle has Skylar Thompson, so I don't trust him. So, yeah, it's probably Keenan Allen and Deebo there. Is Russ a good start if the Chargers sit their starters? Yes, but I think they're still going to start their defense. They're not going to sit their defensive players. Eckler or Kelly or Stevenson. I'd rather play Eckler / Kelly over Stevenson. If Foreman is out, he's not going to be out. He's already active. Does Chuba Hubbard move higher? No, they've already established that Deontay Foreman is active and playing today, despite the knee injuries currently dealing with. Algier or Watson full PPR? I'd play Algier there. Pick one in a full PPR: Drake London or Tyler Lockett. I'd probably play Tyler Lockett there. Deebo Samuel or Christian Watson. Again, I'm legitimately concerned about the Christian Watson re-aggravation of the injury, so I'd probably go Deebo there. Reasoning of putting Hollywood Brown over Drake London? Yeah, primarily because I do not like Desmond Ridder. He is not that good of a quarterback in terms of taking on this defense. Desmond Ridder, what he has pretty much demonstrated over the last 3 weeks is that he could be a decent quarterback, but it's purely based on the fact that he's able to get himself, a couple easy out routes that have kind of accumulated those yards. Outside of the shorter passing game, Desmond Ridder can't really get the job done, and we'll probably see majority of that secondary active, which leaves him, leaves specifically Drake London in a little bit more of a riskier overall option. In comparison to Hollywood Brown, who will have David Blau just slinging the ball the whole time, considering there is no James Conner in that offense, and they won't be able to run the ball, so it's going to be passing all day for Arizona today. Lockett is questionable. Yeah, I know. I'm purely aware of that. I know. Jay says, full PPR. Who do I start? Mike Evans, Mike Williams, or Tyler Boyd? You probably play Mike Williams there. Yeah, probably play Mike Williams there. Hope he gets a couple series. Hope he gets a good. I mean, to be totally honest, at this point, objectively, I'd probably say you don't start any of those 3, and you go and you pick up somebody else in a full PPR, but it's tough. You probably won't be able to do so. Paulie says, what's your favorite plays of the week? Yeah, bottom right corner. Those are my 5 favorite plays of the week. Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, all going over their primary statistics. Just go more on their numbers in terms of receiving yards, rushing yards, and then the Dolphins to get 2 sacks today. If Eckler is out today, do I play Kelly or Hollywood? You would play Kelly. Yeah, you play Kelly. Andrew, who has more upside? Elijah Mitchell, Alexander Madison, or Rashid Shaheed? I think Rashid Shaheed has the highest upside of the bunch there. Seahawks or Vikings defense? Again, rankings are on screen there, Dominic. I would still play the Vikings defense over the Seahawks. Thank you. Donald Smith says, they just said starters on the Vikings will see limited action on the Fox show. Can somebody else confirm that? Because if that's the case, then you can just bench all your Vikings at that point. I mean, look, I would hope that they're not going to start their main guys. I would hope. Now, as to whether they do it, to be determined. Wondering if I should start Kmet over Njoku. Yeah, I like Kmet over Njoku, especially against the New England Patriots. They've struggled against the tight end all season long. Is Zach Moss a good play? Yes. Against Houston, he's a good play. But this is under the assumption that he hopefully finds the end zone. Paulie says, love the content. Been following for over 2 seasons now. My league came down to needing 17 points from Josh Allen for my title. Didn't know. We don't know how to decide our league now. Paulie, do you have a backup quarterback on your bench in that league? Shady says, hey, should I start Juwan Johnson over Taysom Hill? In a PPR, yes. In a half or a standard, I'd play Taysom Hill, though. Denver defense looks like it's a good play. I mean, listen, the last time I thought Denver's defense was a good play, they got me -4 points. So let's be careful with that one, Todd. Jalen Waddle or Christian Watson? Man, that's tough. I'd probably still play Waddle there. Who's safer, Brady, Russ, or Darnold? Russ is probably the safest of the three. Komet or Higbee? Yeah, 100% play Komet. Play Higbee there. Excuse me. There's no Justin Fields, so Komet is unplayable. Prater over Gould, and why? Prater, okay, here's the thing, right? The expectation is that Prater will have to kick field goals because that team cannot score points in terms of touchdowns. While on the other end of the spectrum, it should be a pretty easy, consistent volume of drives in which 49ers are consistently scoring touchdowns. So Gould could get himself a couple field goals if they get into tough situations, but I don't think they'll ever be really kind of tested at that capacity. So it'll probably be a lot of PATs rather than overall field goals for Gould. St. Brown or Walker? Give me Walker. Cincinnati wins. Sit Allen and start Dobbs for Green Bay. You can. I don't love it, but you can. At that point, I'd rather just, I don't know, man. I think I'd rather just play Keenan Allen. Play to Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, or Deebo Samuel. Yeah, I'd probably play. Goodness gracious, man. It is so difficult. This is an awful week for fantasy. I'm just going to sit back and relax, man. I'm just going to sit back here. Because Andrews, as you guys can tell, this is the most difficult week of rankings I have ever had. Literally. I don't know what the heck's happening. I have no clue. I'd love to know what the idea was on, some of these teams playing their starters, but they're messing around. Why is Cincinnati over the rate? What? Oh, Joris, the Cincinnati Bengals are playing against the defense with a third-string quarterback. Tyler Huntley is out. J.K. Dobbins is out. Mark Andrews is out. So fire up your Cincinnati defense. Don't play the Ravens defense. Not against Joe Burrow, please. Man, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, or Deebo Samuel. Yeah, I'll probably play Keenan Allen and Deebo there. At that point, I don't know if I can play Keenan or Mike Evans, to be honest. Keenan or Mike Evans are probably a toss-up. Considering we're in a scenario, right, where the Baltimore Ravens probably lose that game, Mike Evans has probably more upside technically than Keenan Allen, because I would assume Mike Evans could probably find the end zone in comparison to Keenan Allen. But again, it's all speculation. Brad says touchdowns are 6 points, and plus 100 yards is an additional 6, and 150 is 9. Okay, etc. Pick 5. Zeke, Algier, Walker. Okay, and then we have Cooper, Tyreek, DK Metcalf, Dalvin. Okay, so let's say, for example, okay, so in this circumstance, Brad, it would be Walker, Algier, Zeke, Metcalf, and Tyreek Hill. Boom. Paulie says in week 17, needed Josh Allen to get 17 points. So yeah, how many things did you have there? Or did you have a backup quarterback there, Paulie? Because if you had a backup quarterback, I'd say that you're allowed to swap that. But otherwise, you're not good to go. Brandon says, Mark Andrews pissed me off. I traded the house for that guy. Yeah, Mark Andrews was a disaster this year. But hey, that kind of feels like almost every tight end was a kind of a disaster except for Travis Kelce, right? At least there was some tight ends that had themselves pretty good seasons that came out of nowhere, which is great, but it is what it is. Should I play Conklin over Hawkinson? Yeah, at that point, you know what? Let's just bench our Minnesota Vikings, man. At this point, I cannot objectively tell you one way or another whether or not they're going to play. Based on what people are telling me in the chat, they're saying, hey, the Fox production said that the Minnesota Vikings are only going to play a couple snaps or a couple drives. Congratulations. At that point, just bench them. Leave me out of it. Just like Foreign says, just go smoke a blunt, Andrew. I might have to. At this point, I'm done. I'm cooked. There's no way we're doing this any longer, right? How many more minutes? I got 20 more minutes of this. You know what, guys? I don't know anymore. I'm so frustrated with how garbage week 18 is. I'm dejected. I'm angry, and this is going to be a very unfortunate circumstance. ABC says start Madison or Gus. Yeah, let's just play Madison. F it. Throw Madison in there. Let's blender the whole team up. Does McPherson move up with the rankings given Baltimore's offensive updates? Probably not. If anything, McPherson kind of lives in that middle range, primarily because I do expect to see the Bengals score a lot of touchdowns, regardless of the fact that Baltimore's offense is pretty much going to be shut down today. Cashkit says, I'm torn between Deshaun Watson and Brock Purdy. I mean, play it with your gut. Again, you know that Brock Purdy's a 2-touchdown, 200-yard guy, right? So if you know that you have the stability there, the question is, what does the rest of your team look like in comparison? Brandon says, I'm really about to start McBride right now. Dude, dude, this week has been crazy. Constantino says, crazy to play Rashid Shaheed over Justin Jefferson. No, I don't think it's crazy anymore. Not anymore. You know, to be totally honest, the rankings on screen are irrelevant. At this point, we're at a position where I should probably just do this, because anything that is on screen, you could probably just ask me at this point, but it's pretty much like washed. Because there's 20 minutes left. I'd have to go in there and rescrub everything down from top to bottom. Let's just put it this way. If you're going to play a Vikings player, if you're going to play this is across the board statement. If you're going to start a Viking, Charger, or Tampa Bay Buccaneer, or even Philadelphia Eagle, be very careful. Purely. Be very careful. I think those 4 teams could very easily be in a situation here where they pull their starters after the first 2 drives and they'll be done. Very possible. The Eagles have to win that game, right? But they could do that with their backup quarterback. That's a given. But yeah, it's tough. Debating between Jefferson for Lazard. I mean, at this point, I'm playing Lazard. I mean, you know what? I need to find it. I need confirmation. Vikings starters. Could someone give me a link or something? Is there an article out there? Somebody go do me a favor and start looking it up, because I don't want to be spouting wrong information just because one guy told me, hey, this is this. Because that might not be a fact. The Fox production could be, head up their ass and they don't know what they're doing. But let's see here. What do we have here? Where art thou? Where is it? I mean, can I get any link that tells me that they're not starting their starters? Because last time I checked, I mean, let's see here. Is there anything? I don't see nothing, guys. Someone's got to get me a confirmation. Otherwise, we're just a dog chasing its own tail. What do you think of Dortch? I think Dortch is a decent play in a full PPR. In a half, it's probably not great. AJ Brown or Lazard? No, at that point, I'm still playing AJ Brown. At that point, I'm still playing him, because I truly do believe that the Philadelphia Eagles, considering they have to win that game, they're going to be putting up 30 points in the first half. That's a given. That team will do it, and they won't be afraid to do so. So don't worry about playing Lazard or AJ Brown. You're fine there. Greg Dortch or Rashid Shaheed? Yeah, I'd play Rashid Shaheed there. What gets the start? Dalvin, Gus Edwards, or Madison? Dude, you know what's going to be funny? I'm going to tell you Madison. I'm scared shitless of Dalvin Cook ripping off a couple runs in that first quarter and going and getting like 12 points in the first drive. I'm so scared of that. But yeah, I mean, Madison's probably the smarter play if, in fact, they're not starting their primary players. Probably the smarter play, technically. Jonathan Williams over Deontay Foreman? Yes. Do I start Christian Watson as my wide receiver too? Then put Cam Akers in the flex since Godwin may not play? Yeah, that's fine. I'm good to go with that, Jason. Algier or Dylan? Yeah, I'll take Algier there. Do we play Tyler Algier over Swift and or Ramondre? Yes, over both of them. Lazard or J Jet? At this point, I don't know. Someone's got to confirm it. If we don't get a confirmation, I'm gonna let you guys decide. I mean, at this point, if we're going to get into it, I mean, considering we don't have anybody saying, "Hey, Andrew, yes, they confirmed this," just keep playing J Jet. I don't know anymore, guys. Because I'm looking as we speak on my phone to see if there's any sort of article that has been posted or any sort of confirmation of any sort that says that the Vikings are only going to be playing a couple drives. I don't see a single thing. So at this point, I'm probably back in on playing my Vikings. That's how terrible Week 18 is. I mean, I don't know. Disaster. I might just sit here and not talk for the next 10 minutes. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. It is just, it's brutal. Brutal. Well, hey, listen. For as chaotic as it is and as frustrating as this is, I appreciate you guys joining us this morning. It is definitely a wild Week 18, to say the very least. Hopefully, despite all this absolute BS and chaos, next season, y'all can get into a situation where you don't have to play in Week 18. Whether you have to tell your commissioner or whether you're the commissioner yourself, let's try to avoid playing in Week 18 next year, shall we? Because really, this is it's not great. It's not the greatest overall experience, as we can tell. Is Herbert sitting? I have no clue. I have no clue. All I see is speculation. That is a fact, because I have nothing else but speculation. There are no cold hard facts because everything is just speculation on the internet right now. So quite frankly, at this point, if it's Allen Lazard or Jefferson, Ayuk or Jefferson, like I see in the chat, I'm playing Jefferson now. Rashid Shaheed or Jefferson, I have to play Jefferson. Because until I get a confirmed word, and I don't see any, and I went scrolling through all the different trusted sources that I go through for the Vikings specifically, I didn't see anything that specifically said that they're only playing a couple drives. So whoever came in here, they're probably getting banned for later today. I'm going to go scrub back there. No, I'm not going to scrub back there, but just start JJ. Let's let it ride with our best player on roster, shall we? Deontay Johnson or Godwin? Just play Deontay Johnson. Dalvin Cook or Algier? Just play Algier. Let's not even risk it there. If you have a good enough player that is close enough in the rankings, just pick the alternative. If it's far enough where it's like 15 spots of a difference on screen, let's not go too far there. You know? Thank you very much, Ron. I'm glad I could help. Thank you. Devonta Smith or Amon-Ra? Yeah, I'd probably still play Devonta Smith or Weasel. Mike says, I read the Vikings injury report. They want to play a few drives in order to establish rhythm. I mean, I need a link. I need a link. Or at least just point me in the direction of where the heck you're reading that. Oh, goodness. I thought you were asking for a link for the Viking speculation. Don't ban me. No, I mean, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a link. I'm talking about the first guy who ever said it. That's who's thrown my mind into a complete blender because I don't know what's happening. I have no clue what the Vikings are going to do. I have no clue. This is what I'll do. I will say, guys, be very careful. Does Andrew have an idea as to whether they're going to play more than 2 drives? I have no clue. Should you start Justin Jefferson? Probably still, yes. Because there's a chance that he shows up on the first drive, goes for a 60-yard touchdown, and the game is over. And he can sit and have himself 13 points on your bench, or it could be in your lineup. We'll see. But at this point, What does it say? ABC says on Dalvin in his bio, it says on ESPN app. I don't have the ESPN app. So if someone can confirm that it says that they're only going to play a couple things, then so be it. I see it on ESPN Fantasy News. Okay, very well. Bench your Vikings. That'll be that's the final time that I will make that statement. At this point, I'm done with the Vikings. Okay? I'm off. I'm completely out. If Justin Jefferson goes for 40, it's on you. All right? I'm done with the Vikings. I'm finished with them. I don't want to deal with them anymore. It is so awful. I'm so done with week 18. I'm mentally checked out. It is frustrating beyond all belief. And I can only imagine. I don't even have any players this week. Y'all are the ones that are starting these players. You guys are probably real pissed. Because, dude, it's impossible to tell what's going to happen. At this point, yeah, I'm probably just sitting my Vikings. Objectively, I'll just sit them all. I'd rather play Madison. I'd rather play KJ Osborne. Just go for the backups and just roll with it. KJ says Justin Jefferson, Diggs, Chubb, Eckler, Debo, Pittman, Foreman, and Watson. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. KJ, your probably best interest is to play Diggs with Debo and then play Chubb alongside of Foreman and then play Watson. Because at this point, I don't know if Eckler or Jefferson are playing. London or Dotson? I'll probably play Dotson there. St. Brown, Watson, or Olave? I'll play St. Brown there. Thank you, Xavier. Yeah, if the ESPN app says it, guys, then I will give the ESPN app its credit, and I'll say they're probably accurate. They're probably accurate in the idea that they're expecting them to play 2 drives. If they play more than 2 drives, I hope everybody uninstalls the ESPN app after the fact, okay? That's all I'm saying. But at this point, we'll probably just fire up Madison, KJ Osborne, probably bench Hawkinson for another tight end, probably bench Kirk Cousins. Obviously we're not starting guys like Adam Thielen, but yeah. At this point, that's kind of where we're leaning at. Oh, what a beautiful Sunday morning, huh, guys? I'm just hoping y'all can just win. That's it. I'm also hoping that, there's no injuries today because the NFL playoffs are just around the corner, and hopefully that's going to be super exciting. Hopefully. Again, football this year has been pretty boring as a overarching kind of theme. There's been a lot of low-scoring games this season. Like fantasy purposes, if you compare this year in terms of total points scored compared to last year or the year before, I mean, we're down a giant number of points. Like it is ridiculous. Now, there are some players that have still been extremely relevant and they've still been fantastic, but across the board, we have seen far less production this season than in seasons past, which obviously is definitely painful. But hopefully next year we can get a little bit of a uptick of overall production. Who do you feel more confident in, Dalvin or Madison at this point? At this point, it would be Madison. Because if you guys are telling me that ESPN's app specifically says verbatim, they want to get off to a good start and play good football, then at that point, they're probably going to wait, ESPN says they want to get off to a good start and play good football verbatim. That's all it says. That's it? Guys, I don't know anymore. I don't know. It's so confusing. Thoughts on any rookie running backs next year? Yeah, Bijan Robinson or, yeah, he's going to, obviously, it depends where you land, right? Where you get drafted is pretty much more than 50% of the whole thing, but that's going to be the biggest question, where he ends up landing, because he is a incredible talent. Goon sends in a question, says Aaron Jones, Swift, Madison, Algier, Wilson, Waddle, Watson, Brown. 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. I'm playing Algier in the flex. I'm playing Aaron Jones in the running back 1's position. I'm playing Watson alongside of Brown at wide receiver. Thank you. Alrighty. Well, Ayuk or Jefferson, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. I mean, listen, here's the thing, right? If the quote was quite literally, ESPN says they want to get off to a good start and play good football verbatim. If that's literally what it says according to pitch, I'm still playing Jefferson. right? I default back. The fact that I've gone back and forth so many times, yeah, it's on the NFL Fantasy app, and they said that the coach said that the starters may not play the whole game. I mean, that was expected, Kevin. But it's a matter of, are they playing 2 series or are they playing 2 quarters, right? There's a huge difference there. McConnell says that he's being vague, but what I got from it is that he wants to go early, then sit them. Yeah, I mean, again, how early is too early? Are they playing 2 drives? Are they playing 2 quarters? We don't know. I'll play Jefferson there over Ayuk, though. At this point, I mean, I'm in shambles. I'm in a blender. I'm kind of firing off my hip at this point because really it doesn't, nothing's really adding up at this point in terms of what the heck we're going to see. I have no clue. All right, guys. Well, I mean, I hope you guys the best of luck today. I truly am. You guys don't understand how much I mean, the amount of effort I put in is not for my teams. Trust me. I don't give a crap about any of my teams. I hope that everything that I've kind of went through outside of the Vikings, Eagles, disaster, Chargers, disaster that is to be, hopefully everybody else at least, is relevant and shows up today. Everything after that, I mean, I don't know what to do with these other teams. I truly don't know. I hate that the Minnesota Vikings are even considering playing their starters. It's brutal. Anyway, guys, love you, Andrew, but seeing you in a pretzel is too funny. Yeah, no, this is bad. This is really bad. I've never been in this much of a frantic, unknowing position, right? I'm typically calm, because I've done my research and I know all the information and the variables that are taken into account. When we are fluctuating and changing the volume of snaps and touches in a singular game, that throws everything off in terms of my mental projection of everything and all the actual stats that I breaking down and the actual projections that I do in my spreadsheets. Like, everything gets completely torn up when we get into the talk of, hey, could be 2 series, could be 2 quarters, could be 2 games, could be 2 minutes. I don't know, right? So at that point, it's tough, guys. I do appreciate y'all supporting the channel. This has been an incredible year. I'll be back probably later on this week with some projections or predictions for the NFL playoffs. Hope you guys can check that out. I'll be back also later in the week with some PrizePick entries for Wild Card Weekend. Hopefully we'll have some fun matchups there. Hopefully tonight's game between the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers is going to be an exciting one, because typically some of these Sunday Night Football games have kind of been boring. So let's hope for some exciting, overall competition there. I hate Week 18. I'd like to preface that once again. If you have a Week 18 championship and you're not the commissioner, you should probably call your commissioner or text them and completely rip them a new one, because it is not fun, as you can tell. As someone who looks at fantasy all day, every day, the fact that I don't know what's happening kind of gives you an idea as to what kind of absolute garbage Week 18 is. Just like many people were saying earlier in the live stream, Week 18 is complete trash. It is a complete disaster. And, I agree at this point. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm going to cue the music. I'm going to dim the lights, drop the curtain. Do I bench Eckler? I would say let's wait until the afternoon, have Joshua Kelly on roster, though, Hyper. Look at the reports. If anything comes out in regards to Eckler and them saying, hey, he's only going to play 2 snaps or 2 series, then at that point you start Kelly and let it roll that way. All right, guys. Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all supporting the channel for the entirety of this season. I'll be back. And then after the NFL playoffs, Andrew will take a little bit of a hiatus, and then he'll be back for the 2023 season once everything kind of gets established. I do appreciate it again. And until next time, guys, I'm cueing the music, and I'm riding off into the sunset and going to take a nap. See you guys, please.